Thembisa Fagude, the director at Africa-Asia Dialogue, joins us now for more analysis. Mr. Fagude, it's always good to have you with us. So welcome to SA Today. So once again, Israel at the forefront of another misstep towards peaceful means out in Gaza. What is the potential short as well as long-term impact of this latest move to try and intensify its occupation in the Strip against all global warnings, Thembisa, against such action at the back of so much progress with hostage exchanges and that failed phased cessation of hostilities that, of course, Israel breached?
Well, the biggest problem that this whole process has is Benjamin Netanyahu. Benjamin Netanyahu is in trouble not only in his country, but chances are he is likely to go to The Hague when the dust settles. So he's kicking the can down the road as much as he can and taking the Israeli people with him. People have likened him to Hitler because of the kind of atrocities that we've seen and continue to witness in Gaza. So this is a man who's not really interested in peace. He just wants to continue with his project of ethnically cleansing the Palestinians from their land. And unfortunately, you have the Israelis that are supporting him. It's unfortunate that the world is viewing this and seeing this happening real time, with the majority of the people of Israel supporting the war in Gaza. Although there are protests of the release of hostages, but the majority of them are not against the war, nor against the continuing genocide in Gaza. They support the genocide in Gaza. They just want their own people to be released. And they're led by someone who's hell-bent and committed to continuing with this crime. And I don't see any end of sight. People who are saying that Trump's intervention could help. But we're seeing a man that is hell-bent and continuing, notwithstanding, as you correctly put it, the noises that are coming from different quarters around the world. But he continues to do as he pleases.
Thembisa, look, I mean, honestly, what do you think is spurring Israel in its non-compliances or disregard of international voices and laws? There seems to be an attitude of you can do whatever you want, make as not much noise as you want, but we really just don't care. How much should such disregard for diplomacy and law be tolerated? Will it not also lead to a precedent as well, where leaders can just decide against the rest of the global positions as well as views and continue to do as they please, while lives continue being lost and we cannot do anything about these injustices?
Well, they don't care. It's hubris. They will do as they please, one. Number two is Israel is led at the moment by religious people. These ultra-Zionists and Jewish right-wing organizations that believe in some sort of divine revelation on what's going to be happening and what should happen. So you have people who are believing some divine revelation at the moment, governing a country. And they will tell you about prophecies that have been in the past revealed to different prophets. And for them, this is a course of action that is supposed to happen in order to fulfill those prophecies. So we are facing a really serious situation at the moment in Israel.
But what additional pressure can the global powers, of course, impact, Thembisa? I know the UN, as usual, has already warned and cautioned against this move. Germany has halted all military exports that could be used, they said, in Gaza until further notice. And how else, I mean, will the message be sent? The process of recognizing Palestine is already in full motion. So how does this then also fare against these current efforts?
Well, it's a lethal combination. One of a person hell-bent at committing this genocide and continuing with it, which is Benjamin Netanyahu. And secondly, you have this right-wing, as I've said, ultra-Orthodox religious platforms in Israel, led by Zionists who hate the Palestinians and who believe in some divine revelation, who are part and parcel of this government. So imagine that combination. And I don't therefore see any intervention that will make sense. Yes, you do have left-leaning politicians and organizations in Israel, but at the moment they're out of governance and they're out of power, and they have no choice but to continue to listen to these two combinations that I've just mentioned, particularly Benjamin Netanyahu, who's trying to save himself by kicking the can down the road, but at the same time he's supported by these religious zealots who just want to see an achievement or a realization of a prophecy. So there's no common sense that you can speak to these individuals at the moment. They'll continue doing as they wish, because one is they are blinded by religion, and the other one is blinded by just, a huge appetite of killing and pursuing his own political ambition of ethnically cleansing the Palestinians. So one wonders what sort of interventions are required to stop this madness in Gaza. And until, of course, you have even the neighboring countries acting on this, particularly the Arab countries, who are not doing much in terms of putting pressure on Israel, you are likely to continue with this genocide, and we are likely to continue seeing it happening in real time.
You mentioned something very profound earlier on, of course, Thembisa, the fact that, of course, Netanyahu, the people inside Israel are actually the ones that are assisting him. But I wanted to ask you, could there be a potential that they actually rally against Netanyahu in the coming future, to go against his stance? As we've seen, of course, as you mentioned, there are protests against this move where there are apparently groups that are actually protesting at the U.S. Embassy, calling also on Donald Trump to intervene. And this could have far-reaching internal ramifications. But do you see a situation where, of course, the Israeli people can turn, in fact, against Netanyahu, as we've seen similar actions starting in certain parts of the United States against Donald Trump?
Well, it's eventually going to happen, but it's going to be a political expediency. It's going to be them trying to say that Benjamin Netanyahu did not do this in our name, we were not involved. But we know now, and we see it happening. But the more pictures get revealed of the suffering of the Palestinians who are shot while queuing for food, and the more you have pressure overseas with the world stopping, including tourists or Israeli tourists not being allowed in certain restaurants, you are likely to see a situation where the tide might just turn, but it will be too late. The Israeli people are complicit in this, and the world will always remember that. No one will forget that this madness and genocide took place while the Israelis were watching and supporting Benjamin Netanyahu.
And unfortunately, there's some of course, the rest of the global powers. Thembisa, is always very fruitful analysis there. Thank you so much for your time. That is Mr. Thembisa Fagude. He's the director at Africa-Asia Dialogues, as of course Israel now plans to intensify its occupation of Gaza City.